If you've ever wondered how you can look like the greatest bodybuilders of the past, including someone like Steve Reeves, well, then you clicked on the right video because in this video, I will be going through a free program that you will find in the link in the description. It's completely free. You don't have to sign up or do whatever. It's literally an Excel sheet. You can just grab it right there. I'll be going through the full program, just explaining what it is, what it entails, why I programmed it a certain way, and yeah, let's get into it. Also, I want to very quickly say, um, if you look at a bodybuilder like Steve Reeves, if you don't know who Steve Reeves is, this is Steve Reeves on the screen right now. Steve Reeves was an amazing bodybuilder. However, when you look at the programs that he was following, knowing the stuff that we know today, it may not work for everyone the same, or it could definitely work. However, it often would involve a lot of time in the gym that most people just don't have. That's the reason that I wanted to make a different program, basically inspired by Steve Reeves and other great bodybuilders of the past, natural bodybuilders of the past. I just share it on here with you. So, yeah, let's get into it, man. So, the first thing that you'll notice when you open this program is maybe that there's a lot of text, a lot of different exercises, and a lot of supersets and giant sets. If you don't know what those mean, what that means, don't worry about it. I'm gonna explain every single thing in this program, and I'm even gonna give you certain alternatives that you could use instead of the exercises that I recommend in this one. Um, okay, so two things right off the bat. First of all, it's a 3 day full body program. Why? Because one, that's how the great bodybuilders of the past, basically all of them trained. Like a lot of them did full body 3 days a week. Um, and they swore by it because of the recovery, right? You get a lot of recovery on full body, and you will pretty much feel fresh every single workout. I'm personally following a 3 day full body split right now, and I'm loving it. I absolutely love how fresh I feel every single session and how hard I can push every single exercise. So that was number one. Number two is that every single day, almost every single day, excuse me, you will start with the shoulder exercise. And that's also for a very specific reason, which is that the bodybuilders of the past, including the great Steve Reeves, swore by the V taper. If you don't know exactly what a V taper is, it simply means that the shoulders are very wide with a very, well, fairly narrow waist and proportionate but not extremely big legs. Nowadays, if you go to a bodybuilding show, that can be natural bodybuilding and that can be enhanced bodybuilding. You will see most often the X taper. An X taper simply means that the legs are a lot bigger. So you go from wide shoulders to narrow waist to again big legs. In my opinion, even though I have quite like dominating legs, I don't really like the X taper. I prefer the V taper of the past, and that's why shoulders are so emphasized on here. So, with that being said, let's get into day one. Day one, exercise number one and number two, because it's a superset. I'll explain what that is right away. We will do an overhead press for 2 sets between 5 to 8 reps, meaning you want a minimum of 5 reps. And as soon as you hit 8 reps, you want to go up in weight. Now, how much you want to go up in weight, that kind of depends on how new an exercise is, how good you are at the exercise, etc., etc. But often, I would recommend going up by like 2.5 kilos, which is about 5 pounds, and then go back to 5 reps. This is how you can continue to progress pretty much every single exercise fairly easily. So that's great. We do 5 to 8 reps with an intensity of, well, I, so, okay, let me explain this. Intensity, I did a scale of 1 through 10, right? You have things like RPE, RIR. If you don't know what that means, it doesn't matter. If we look simply at intensity, number one would be you simply just haven't done anything. It's like not even a warm up. It's like walking, right? And number 10 is extremely intense. Like you pretty much fail the rep, or you're very close to failing. So for both the overhead press and the neck curl, we're gonna be between an intensity of 9 to 10. That means you're gonna go very hard right away. Why? Because it's the first exercise of the workout. We want to milk out every single thing that there is to milk out. We want to get them gains. So yeah, we gotta go hard on this, right? Superset. This simply means that when you are finished with the set of overhead press that you've done, you go straight into a neck curl without waiting to rest. Why? Because it saves a ton of time. Because imagine you have to rest between, let's say, 2 to 3 minutes. I often just say rest until you feel like you're ready because it just makes sense. Um, but imagine you have to rest 2 to 3 minutes between sets of the overhead press and then go into a neck curl and then go into the barbell row and then. That's gonna take like a long time. And bro, I ain't got time for that. Most of you don't have time for that. So we're not gonna do that. We're gonna superset a lot. The old school greats, a lot of them did use supersets, some of them didn't, but minimized their rest times. It comes down to preference. I love supersets because it also will build your cardio a lot more than standard strength training will. And you'll see from my supersets that I don't tend to combine exercises that are very hard on your nervous system, on your cardio system, because that doesn't make sense. But anyway, let's get back into the program. A barbell row is after this. This will be for 2 sets of 6 to 10 reps with an intensity of 10. Why? Because you can row pretty much to failure. Like, in my opinion, if you do a proper row, you don't have to like leave a lot of reps in the tank unless you get very, very strong. And I mean, you're rowing like 3+ plates. In that case, a lot of what I'm showing you here, you already freaking know, and you already know your body best. So like, you can adjust this accordingly, right? If you're watching this and you're that strong, shout out to you. Please comment down below because I want to know who you are. You're awesome. Um, okay, we're gonna couple that barbell row with a neck extension. We just did a neck curl, right? Also, the neck curl, I recommend starting very light. So start with a plate against your head. You can use a hat or you can use like a towel. I tend to use a towel, put it on the plate, then put it against my head, and I go like this, right? For the neck curl, for the neck extension, you can simply lay down on the bench and do the same where you go back like this, right? Simple. We do 8 to 12 reps on the neck extension, also 2 sets with an intensity of 9. I'm saying 9 because especially if you just start neck training, you don't want to go like extremely heavy, right? Because it's not dangerous to train your neck. I mean, I train my neck and it works pretty freaking good. But you don't want to overdo it, right? So, yeah, be a bit more careful with it when you're just starting, and then later you can go quite heavy. Like I'm up to sets paused, right, of 30 kilos on neck curls. That's quite a lot for most people. I think most people would probably not be able to do that, but I worked up to that throughout the years, right? You can get very far even with neck curls, even though it's a small muscle. Um, and why we're doing like these neck curls and neck extensions is because the old school greats and most great bodybuilders, unfortunately not in the modern era as much, but most bodybuilders tend to like proportions. And the neck is a very important muscle for proportions. Because what can you see right now when I'm sitting? You can see maybe a bit of my shoulders, like barely even that. You can see my arms when I put them up, right? But mostly you're seeing my face and my neck. If my neck was small, like imagine my neck was like this, I'd look like I didn't lift, right? So you have to train your neck in this program, at least. All right. Then we move into incline dumbbell presses. So just with a dumbbell. 2 sets, 8 to 12 reps, between 9 to 10 intensity. I think that speaks for itself. And we're gonna actually superset this with a dumbbell pullover. I know I might like some people are not gonna agree with me on this, and that's fine. Um, I tend to feel pullovers mostly in my lats, and I can superset them very easily with incline dumbbell presses and not lose a rep on either exercise. Some people might do them a lot more, feel them a lot more in their chest, and they might not be able to do this superset. That's fine. Superset it with something else. Do something else. Um, but what I will uh, say to you is that when you're doing the pullover, make sure that you put your hips down as low as you can, and you want to keep your arms relatively straight. They can bend a little bit, but keep them mostly straight and reach back, not down, right? When you're reaching down, you're going here, like right behind your head. You're getting a lot of triceps in there. You don't want that. You want to reach mostly back, because when we're reaching mostly back, we tend to involve the shoulder a lot more, which will help with that lats activation. So after this, we move into a giant set. A giant set is exactly the same as a superset, but it's most it basically just means you do one or more exercises like after each other, right? So it's a minimum of 3 exercises. In this case, it's 3 exercises, which are an incline dumbbell curl. This was the favorite exercise of Steve Reeves. It's a great exercise. You simply just lay back a little bit. You can decide your the height of the incline yourself. I will tell you, don't put it down all the way. Like don't go down too much. You don't want to overstretch. You don't want to do the Mike Israetel overstretch the biceps. I'm sorry if you're a fan of Mike. In my opinion, that's just too much, right? You want to get a good stretch on the biceps, but you don't want to super overstretch them. That being said, we're going to superset that with dumbbell lateral raises, just a normal lateral raise, and a one-armed dumbbell extension, just like this. You can do them like this style, right? Um, let's see. The incline dumbbell curl, we're going to do 6 to 10 reps, the rest 8 to 12, and it's all an intensity of 10. So we're going to failure on all of these. Why? Because they're only 2 sets. And like this giant set will take you a maximum of 10 minutes. Not like if this takes you more than 10 minutes, you got to speed up your reps, like, or speed up your sets rather. Like, you have to minimize your rest times. You just got to go boom boom boom, because this should not take a long time. You're in front of the dumbbell rack, you can like grab everything, right? And then we end the workout with 2 sets of leg raises and 3 sets of calf raises. You might want to start the calf raises first. um, the leg raises, just do them AMRAP to failure, and the calf raises as well to failure. I have an intensity of 10. I might change it to 11, because calf raises, I want you to like go until you literally cannot raise your calf anymore. Just go fully to failure, okay? You can decide what you want to do the calf raises on. You can have like a squat machine, a leg press, a Smith machine. You can do them one-legged, whatever. Choose 2 variations. I just put like a calf raise. We're gonna do a calf raise on another day as well. Choose 2. I don't care which ones. Okay, that was day 1. We're gonna go right into day 2. And this time we're actually not gonna start with a shoulder exercise. We're gonna start with a weighted dip. Why? Because the weighted dip was one of the favorite exercises of like past bodybuilders in general. The weighted dip is an amazing exercise, and I might have a very big bias here because I love weighted dips. I am, when it comes to like exercises that I'm good at, I'm weirdly good at weighted dips. I don't know why. I'm not good at bench pressing, but I'm good at weighted dips. I don't know. It's gonna build the chest, it's gonna build the shoulders, it's gonna build everything. And by the way, if you can't do weighted dips yet, just do normal dips until you can do weighted dips, right? Simply, I think if you can do, let's say if you can do between 10 to 12 normal dips, you can already work up to weighted dips, because you can just start with like a 5 kilo plate, right? Or 10 pounds. That's not crazy. You won't drop that much in reps. You'll be between that 5 to 8, like that. So the weighted dip, amazing exercise, and we're gonna superset this with weighted pull-ups, or again pull-ups and then work up to weighted dips, right? Why? because they're amazing. Like, this is such a great superset. I've done this for years, and it's one of my favorite like supersets to do because the whole upper body just gets worked. You're doing the upper body squat and you're doing like the upper body deadlift, right? With the weighted dip and weighted pull up. Amazing pair to have. Um, all right, we're gonna do this for both for 2 sets, 5 to 8 reps, and we're gonna be on an intensity, let's say around 9, because you can do 10, right? Especially on pull-ups, you can just pull until you can't anymore. Um, but we don't want to overdo this too much, especially on the weighted dips. Some people can get shoulder aches and pains, blah blah blah. As long as we don't overdo it, we're good. Then we're gonna superset a dumbbell AD press. That means anterior delt press, which is front delt, and a neck curl across a bench. Why across a bench? Because it's simply just another variation. Keep if you keep more variations in there, you're gonna be less injured. Which, I mean, I don't need to tell you why being less injured is good. So, yeah, we're gonna do that superset. We're gonna do the dumbbell AD presses between 6 to 10 reps, and the neck curl again 8 to 12 reps. So to explain what a dumbbell AD press is, it simply means that instead of having the bench all the way up straight like this, where you're doing like the most vertical press, you put it down a notch. Why? Because if you have it all the way up, I find for most people it just doesn't feel natural to press this way. If we put it down just one notch, we are still using the front delt pretty much to its maximum capacity. We're pressing in a more natural position, and you may use a little bit of the upper chest as well, but it's mostly there to help out, right? Which is good because we're just pushing the front delts to failure. So then we're moving into an upright row and a seated neck extension. The upright row is simply working the side delts, right? You're just rowing like this. You can do this with the barbell. You can experiment. You can even do this with dumbbells, by the way. So that's that's the upright row and the seated neck extension, both 2 sets of 8 to 12. Then we move on to a superset of biceps and triceps, the JM press and the easy bar curl. If you don't know what a JM press is, it simply is a movement where you are using the triceps to press. That may sound a bit weird, but you simply lay down on a bench. You can use a Smith machine with this as well. I prefer a barbell myself. Some people, different, how do you say it? Different boats, different flows. I don't freaking know. Anyway, you're doing this movement, right? It's a bit like a skull crusher, but you are getting the barbell down a little bit more instead of here. I'll maybe put up a picture or a video on the screen to make my point more clear. Okay. The easy bar curl, I mean, I don't need to explain that to you. We're going to do that 6 to 10 reps. I like 6 to 10 on biceps. I don't know why. You could do 8 to 12. That's fine. I like 6 to 10. Then, okay. You may have skipped to this part if you had no idea what this was. An elevated tris squat. I'm calling this my exercise now. This is my exercise. Because I don't see anyone else doing this. So I'm claiming it. What this is it is a squat where you are standing on 2 plates. I will put a video on the screen right now. I know for a fact that I have one. I recorded it. You're holding the barbell in a zercher position like this, right here. If that is uncomfortable, you can use a towel or you can use one of the, like, what's it called? Like the sissy barbell pads, where that people use for hip thrusts and shit. Yeah, you can use that because, to be fair, it really does help feel more comfortable. I use it sometimes myself. It's good. Okay. You're holding the barbell like this and you're going down pretty upright and you are with this movement, mostly using the quads. We're using the glutes still a little bit because with any squat variation where you're relatively upright, you are still using the glutes, but it is very biased for the quads. And that brings me to the point where if you look at this program, you're gonna see relatively minimal leg work. You're gonna see it here and there, right? But that's for the reason that I explained. That V taper was important to the old school greats, right? It's not about the X taper, it's about the V taper. We want our legs developed, yes, but we don't want them overdeveloped. And especially, we don't want overdeveloped glutes. If go back in time, look up who Steve Reeves was, look up who Marvin Adair was, all of them guys. If you look at pause, look at their butt, it's not very well developed for a very good reason. They didn't care about it. And in my opinion, I don't care about my glutes that much. Again, pause, bro. But that's the reason why we're doing this squat. We're supersetting this with a wrist curl because why not? It's like free volume. 2 sets of 8 to 12 on the wrist curl. Oh, and the elevator twist squat. You're gonna do this intensely. This is gonna be like a max effort, right? Between 9 to 10 intensity. It's going to be hard. After the wrist curl, we're going to move into seated leg curls, 2 sets of 8 to 12, and then a toe to bar leg raise, 2 sets of an AMRAP, as many reps as possible. You can even superset the leg curl and the toe to bar up. I don't care. Like, I can't at my gym, right? But maybe you can. I wrote most of the supersets in a way that you would be able to do it in any gym, right? Some of them you may quite not be able to, but I think most of them you will be. That brings us to the final day. This is the last day of the program, and we are starting with a behind the back press. Should I say behind the neck? I think it's behind the back. Whatever. This means that you are holding the barbell like this in a squat position and you are pushing it up. Now I want you to grab the barbell. Let's say, first start a thumb's grip away from where the knurling on the bar starts. Push it like that, see if that's comfortable. If it is, you can go a bit wider, put the pinkies on the ring, right, like with a bench press, and push it up again. I prefer you to do less weight and do the second variation, mostly because most people's shoulder mobility is not amazing, and this really helps with shoulder mobility, and it makes it more of a vertical press where we use the front delt a lot more, and we can keep the elbows, we can let the elbows down a lot more, getting more stretch on the delts. Either way, pick a variation, be consistent with it. Yes, we're gonna superset this with 2 to 3 sets of a one-armed row. Why do I say 2 to 3 sets? Because honestly, we've already done quite a bit of back work, but if you want more upper back work, you can do 3 sets of the one-armed row, right? You can just start with the one-armed row instead of the behind the back press. That's fine. I'd start with 2 sets and just see if you want more. The one-armed row, make sure that you put your hand against something very stable, like a bench or like the dumbbell rack. Make a sort of triangle with your feet, like point them out a little bit like this, stand like this, right? And then row it all the way down, get a good stretch on the upper back, row it back. All right. Then we move into a superset of a bench press and a hammer curl. That might seem like a weird superset, but it's great because like I can literally do a bench press set, go straight into a hammer curl set, not have that be a limiting factor at all, and then go back into the bench press, not have that be a limiting factor, right? Both exercises are completely separate from each other, so they're not gonna really limit you in that way. Let's see. Then we move into an RDL. I'm not going to superset the RDL with anything on this. Why? Because I think it deserves a certain amount of respect. It is quite a heavy movement and it will take a lot out of you. I don't want you to be focused on doing something else while doing that movement. You can, if you want to. Like, hey, again, this is your program now. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. Just my recommendation, right? Um, you can substitute, for example, the RDL with the deadlift as well. Again, your program. Then we're gonna move into sissy squats, where we're gonna superset it with a seated dumbbell curl. I want to say something about the sissy squat. You should start with, by the way, if you don't know what a sissy squat is, it's on the screen probably here. Um, yeah, you want to start the sissy squat going just as deep as you can with the knees, right? And if you can't go any deeper, work up to that range of motion first. I want you to be able to pretty much stretch out your knees as far forward as you can before you start to weigh this. Yes, you can make this a weighted calisthenics movement. How do you do this? You can literally just hold a dumbbell, hold a plate, use a backpack. You can do a lot of things. Right now, I'm quite like relatively heavy. So for me, sissy squats normally are already quite challenging, but I use a 10 kilo dumbbell that I just put on my chest like this and then do them, right? And make sure it's with the other hand to hold on to something stable. That's for that. Let's see. We're then going to move into cable overhead extensions and seated lateral raise. Why seated? Because it's just another variation of the lateral raise. Simple. Then we're going to finish it up with a lying, well, we're not going to finish it up. We're first going to do a lying leg curl, and then we finish it up with weighted sit-ups, and again, a calf raise. Pick whatever the hell you want. With the weighted sit-ups, I have a suggestion. You can use a form where you are putting the plates behind your head, right? But you're letting it float behind you. You put the elbows as far back as you can and you hold it all the way there. Okay, so by the way. Okay, so if you do this, right, you're gonna have a lot of the weight from your arms, funnily enough, and you're gonna make sure that you already stretch the abs, right? Basically, if you do weighted sit-ups like this, they're quite relatively easy. You can load them very heavily. If you do them like this, in this way, right, all the way back here, you might not even be able to handle half of what you use like this. I think it's less than half. Like, I'm pretty sure I can do a lot more than half. More than half of, yeah, but you know what I mean. So, just a suggestion. Do them however you want to. It's your program now. I forgot to mention, the sissy squat, you will see an intensity of 11. What I mean with that is what I want you to do with sissy squats is do those 2 sets to failure. And then, if you choose to, I do it myself because I like it. Some people won't like this at all. But what you can do is, when you finish that last rep, you can go into a normal squat stance and start doing squats. Your quads will fail first, and you probably won't be able to do more than 10 reps that way. It's a mechanical drop set, as you can call it, right? Because you're 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 basically making yourself strong enough to do some squats, but you're not strong in that position, trust me, because your quads are fried. So if you want to like absolutely die, then oh wait, I can't say that for YouTube. If you want to absolutely get wrecked, then yeah, try that. It's very fun. Um, Other than that, I've said everything that I wanted to say about this program. I hope that you'll like this program. But if you have any question, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I respond to every single comment that you will leave down below, and I'm happy to help you guys out. If you want me to help you even further and create a custom program for you, that's possible. I also offer online one-to-one coaching. You can DM me on Instagram. I'll leave the link for that below, and I'll give you all of the details for that. If you don't want that, don't worry about it. Like, enjoy the free, all of the free knowledge that I'll be putting on this channel. I love natural bodybuilding, and I want to start this community to help you guys achieve some of your goals, the way that I've been helped by some very good YouTubers um, in the past as well. So I hope I can do that for you guys. Other than that, have a great day. See ya.